So since I've been posting about egg white bread, I have gotten asked many times if there is something that you can use in place of the allulose, or if you can leave the allulose out altogether. I know that allulose is not available in all countries, so I thought it would be helpful to do a video talking about with or without allulose. And for those asking if you can substitute something, you can substitute any other sweetener you like. You will not get as brown of a loaf of bread because the allulose actually caramelizes just like sugar, and so that's what gives it a nice brown color. So if you substitute it with something else like stevia or Swerve, it's not gonna have that same effect. Also, if you substitute it with something else like Swerve, I would recommend just doing a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons, because you're not really doing it to get the bread sweet. You do it more for the texture and for the browning effect. So if you want to try replacing it, it's fine, but I actually recommend just leaving it out altogether since it isn't in there for the sweetness. I'm gonna cook 1 loaf with allulose and 1 loaf without. All the other ingredients are gonna remain the same, and then you guys can get an idea of the difference in look and texture.
Preheating the oven to 325.
I want to bake both loaves at the same time, so I'm going to go ahead and mix both of them up. While this one is blending in the stand mixer, I'm going to blend this one up with my hand mixer. So I'm just going to add my ingredients, 12 egg whites to each bowl, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of cream of tartar, and to this one only 1/4 of a cup of allulose. I'm adding in 1 cup of the egg white powder to each bowl. 1 cup is 80 grams. Try not to get over. Since I want both loaves to come out the same size and shape, I'm using my mini loaf pans because I have 2 of them and I don't have 2 of my bigger ones. So I'm gonna mound these up and make some really nice sized loaves in here, and whatever batter is left over, I will use to make a couple of hot dog bun or mini baguettes. I've stopped spraying my silicone bread pans, but I still do spray these since they have the holes in them. This first one is the one with allulose. And I got the tip from a couple of you guys to make a slice in the top of the loaf, and that helps the loaf to split down the middle rather than on the side. And I tried it the other day and it worked great. So I'm gonna do that on here. So the 2 in the front are with allulose, the 2 in the back are without. I'll put the other one without in the back here so they line up. And with allulose. I'm gonna turn on the timer for 30 minutes, but I'm gonna start checking the buns earlier than that.
About 15 minutes into the cook time, I'll give you a little peek if the steam will clear. You can see the one in the back has a different texture than the one in the front. The one in the front is the one with allulose. It stays a lot smoother, but that's what they're looking like halfway through cook time. They have all been in here for a total of 30 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and take the buns out and let the loaves sit in here for another 30 minutes with the oven off. And that'll allow them to cool slowly. Okay, let's examine these real quick. You can very easily tell the difference and which one is which. The allulose browns, that is very clear. It also keeps the batter smoother. You get kind of this cottage cheesy texture when you don't use the allulose. And another thing that's interesting is that these are very crispy on top, kind of like meringue would be. These are a lot softer. They have a chewy crust, but you don't get that crispy, kind of powdery crispy. It's crumbly, just like meringue. I'm gonna let these cool for just a few minutes and then I'll pull them out of the pan. These have been cooling about 10 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull them out. There's one with no allulose. And the last, no allulose. So the ones with the allulose are the ones that I did with the hand mixer, and I think I was a little bit impatient, as one would get with a hand mixer, and didn't whip them quite as much as I whipped these. I think if I had, these would be a little puffier, but they'll still taste good. Here's a view of the texture of the allulose ones. Nice white fluffy centers. And the ones with no allulose, they just have that really crispy crust, although it doesn't stay crispy once you store it. When it's fresh, it's crispy. The inside looks just as delicious. Nice and soft. Very bread-like. Talia volunteered to be my taste tester, so we're gonna each taste a bite of each one and we'll tell you which one's better. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, take a bite. This is the one with allulose. I'll take a bite of this one. Think about all the flavors.
Tastes like egg bread.
Tastes like egg bread, okay.
I'm not a big fan of egg bread.
She's not a big fan of egg bread, but you can still tell which one's better between these two, right? Mm-hmm. All right, take a bite of that one. See what you think.
Oh.
Crispier, huh?
Yeah, it sounds like crispier, like flakier.
Yeah, it's kind of like crumbly. All right, let me see.
This one's not as good.
It's not as good.
I think I'd choose this one. On taste, this one wins.
Yeah, there's just not as much flavor. I think the browning gives it really good flavor. And the chewiness of this one is more like bread. I'm not saying this one's bad. It's fine.
It's just not as good.
This one is improved.
It's a little bit better.
A little bit better.
Even if they're both good, so one can be a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean the first one's bad.
Nope. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these out and they'll sit here and cool until I take them out of the pan before they're completely cool, but I do let them sit for probably at least 20 minutes and then take them out of the pan and let them cool the rest of the way. I'll start with slicing the allulose bread. You've seen me slice this 1,000 times before, so it's nothing new. Autumn, my oldest daughter, made the comment the other day that this bread looks like cartoon bread because the colors are so exaggerated. Super white center, super brown crust, and it's like, it just looks really cartoony. I thought that was very, very true. So the nickname my husband gave this bread, like I told you in my first egg white bread video, is protein foam, or Profo for short. And I guess Autumn's nickname can be cartoon bread. So there's the texture. Beautiful, fluffy texture. Now for the non-allulose bread. You can see the crumbs coming off the top. It just kind of rubs off, just the way the texture is. I will say that with this one, I smell eggs a lot more than with the other one. I honestly don't think of eggs when I use the allulose bread because it's so different from eggs, but with this one I can smell kind of like a boiled egg type smell. It's not overwhelming or off-putting really, it just is more eggy. So lots of crumbs coming off the top. The whole kind of top coating came off just about. But here is the texture, and it still is a gorgeous texture. Very fluffy and foamy. I'll give it a little rip for you. It is bread. So crazy that this is almost 100% egg whites. It still blows my mind. So if you don't have allulose, you can still make this. Is it better with the allulose? I think so, but this is not bad. It's still delicious. So I really hope that was helpful in understanding why allulose is in this recipe and what to expect if you do make it without allulose. Let me know how you like it or how you make it. Everyone's got their little tweaks they do to make it different or better. I'd love to hear that. I'm gonna be experimenting with some of your guys' suggestions for little tweaks in upcoming videos. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.